Yo, what is going on, guys? CultofMush back at it with another video, and in this video, I want to talk about Deus Ex Mankind Divided, but more so a feature in that game, and that is microtransactions. And this has been a big topic in the PC gaming scene for a bit. Since the game's release, a lot of people have been talking about it. The game actually had mixed reviews on Steam, and many of the negative reviews for Deus Ex Mankind Divided came from the fact that it had microtransactions. I just want to give you my thoughts on microtransactions in video games, especially AAA video games like this, and I also want to play a little bit of devil's advocate, because yes, it's very easy to hate on Deus Ex Mankind Divided, and any AAA game that shoehorns in microtransactions, it's easy to hate on those games. Some other games I remember having microtransactions, I believe Battlefield 4 had it, where if you spent like $20, that would give you access to all of the weapons and stuff. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but I remember it being a part of one of the Battlefield games. Needless to say, I typically don't fickle around with microtransactions, but I see why people have a problem with them. If you're releasing a free-to-play game on mobile or even on PC, a game like League of Legends or Hearthstone, it's very much easier to understand why those games have microtransactions because they're free. In Hearthstone, if you drop a lot of money into it, you're gonna have better cards to make a better deck. That's gonna improve your experience with the game. I mean, that goes without saying. If you have the best cards in Hearthstone, you're gonna kick a lot more ass. In League of Legends, it's not as big of a deal. You can buy things like IP boosts, XP boosts. Obviously, you can buy skins and you can buy champions. However, those champions are unlockable if you just play through the game. With League of Legends, I know people that have spent no money on it, and I know people that have spent hundreds of dollars on the game. But with games like Hearthstone and League of Legends, you really can't complain about those having microtransactions because, again, they are free to play. It gets a bit dicey when you have games like Deus Ex Mankind Divided and Battlefield, and a lot of other games have done it as well, and they have microtransactions. Well, those are $60 games where you pay money to play the games, and I see why people have issues with it. However, it's very easy for me to come on here and hate on Deus Ex Mankind Divided and Battlefield for having microtransactions, but I want to play devil's advocate. First of all, I didn't even realize Deus Ex Mankind Divided had microtransactions. That's how inconsequential they are. Apparently, you can buy things like augmentation points so you can get upgrades. Honest to God, I didn't even know the game had microtransactions until like 8 hours into the game, and I read a lot of stuff on Reddit about it, and I saw the Steam reviews, and I was like, holy shit, this game has microtransactions? I didn't even notice. So let me preface this by saying, with Deus Ex Mankind Divided, you do not need to get the microtransactions. Hell, I think the microtransactions would actually hamper your experience of the game, because if you get all the upgrades, well, what's the fun in that? You're ruining your experience of the game. Yes, microtransactions are there, but for the majority of people, I don't think you should dabble with those at all. They're very inconsequential to the game. So far, being 10 hours into the game, I've been able to progress through the game no problem. And again, like I said, it was to the point where I didn't even notice the game had microtransactions until like 8 hours into the game. And really, I probably would have never noticed had I not gone on Reddit or had I not read the Steam reviews. Okay, so the game has microtransactions. Sure, it might put some people off, but if the microtransactions are just there and they're not hampering your experience of the game, and they're not intrusive at all. There's no prompts coming up saying, hey, you could buy this for this amount of money and you could have an easier time with the game. I've seen nothing like that. It's just one of the options in the menu that I didn't even notice. I don't think that's a big deal. Honestly, it's not affecting my experience of the game. I'm having a really good time with Mankind Divided and I'm not using microtransactions. So it's not affecting me at all with this game, but I do understand the worry of people that are like, hey, if microtransactions do end up making a profit for Square Enix with Mankind Divided, what's stopping them from creating more intrusive microtransactions in future games? That's where I would have an issue. If microtransactions are just there and it's an option for people, the small minority that want to use it, then fine. If it's not intrusive at all, I don't care. The issue becomes, and this has been happening, is where you lock away content and it's inaccessible unless you pay money. And some games already do that. There's been games where DLC was stored away on disc for a console game. DLC is announced well before a game's even released. That stuff I don't agree with. But again, let me play devil's advocate once again. Game prices have stayed steady at $60 for the last 8 to 10 years. Obviously, if you're in a different region, it's gonna vary, but for the most part, at least in the States, the prices have been very consistent. You know what hasn't been consistent though? How big these games are, the production costs for these AAA games. I guarantee you that Deus Ex Mankind Divided cost a lot more money to create than Deus Ex Human Revolution. I guarantee you that The Witcher 3 cost more money to create than The Witcher 2. The production costs of these games have been increasing, but developers don't want to raise the price of the base game any higher. Imagine if game prices were increased to $80 to reflect the production costs of these new few games. People would be outraged, people would think that's too expensive, so instead, developers have figured out other ways to stealthily make more profit. These things include DLC and microtransactions, but the thing with microtransactions is, okay, there's a small minority of people that are gonna pay for these microtransactions, and Square Enix is gonna make money off of them. You're not gonna buy these microtransactions, so this small minority of people are funding Square Enix the money they need to create big games like Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Why are you complaining about that? That's actually very good for you, because guess what? You're never gonna dabble in these microtransactions. Right now, they're very unintrusive, and you don't have to complain about them. However, there's a guy that you don't know on the other side of the country that's like, oh my god, I can get some more augmentation points? Yeah, I'll give you my money. Well, guess what? Those are essentially the people that are keeping the price of games at $60. Without them funding Square Enix more money, how would they make a profit off of these games? And that's off of me thinking that Mankind Divided was a big production, and I'm pretty sure it was. Mankind Divided looks like a game that it took a lot of money to put out. And guess what? At the end of the day, this hobby that we all love, video games, at the end of the day is a business. These companies need to make money. I'm okay with them making money if it's not gonna affect me. And look, guys, out of all of the PC gamers on YouTube, gamers in general, I'm probably one of the most that is constantly bitching about things. I'm bitching about bad ports, I'm bitching about this, I'm bitching about that. All I do is bitch. I act like a girl on her period sometimes. But this is one I can actually kind of understand. But like I said, if it gets to the point where these microtransactions become intrusive, then I'll really start complaining. And with a lot of games, things like day one DLC or locking out content from a game on release, that stuff I don't agree with. But with Mankind Divided, I don't think the microtransactions are anything crazy, at least so far as what I've played. So that's gonna wrap up this video, guys. I hope I was able to bring a different viewpoint, something a lot of people weren't seeing from. Do microtransactions suck? Yes, if they're presented in the wrong way, but with Mankind Divided, I don't think it's a big deal. But if it gets to the point where it does become a big deal, yeah, you better believe I'll be the first one bitching about it. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think? I'm really interested to hear what PC gamers think about microtransactions, what they think about day one DLC. It's a big topic in gaming right now, and obviously different people are gonna have different opinions, so I'm interested in hearing all of them. If you have a request for a future video, you can also leave that in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.